Shall we start? Hello, students.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Just answer your attendance. Nishant,
Yes, ma'am.
Nishmita,
Present, ma'am.
Nitesh,
Present, ma'am.
Nitesh,
Present, ma'am.
Durgesh,
Present, ma'am.
Pallavi, Pallaviji, Pooja,
Present, ma'am.
Purvita,
Present, ma'am.
Pradeep Kumar,
I'm
Pradeep Kumar, Rakshita,
Present, ma'am.
Ranjini,
Present, ma'am.
Rashmita,
Present, ma'am.
Ravishankar,
Yes, ma'am.
Rohit, Rumaija,
Present, ma'am.
Sandesh,
Present, ma'am.
Sangeeta,
Present, ma'am.
Sanket, Sanket,
Present, ma'am.
Santrapti,
Present, ma'am.
Satvik,
Present, ma'am.
Seema,
Present, ma'am.
Shabarish,
Present, ma'am.
Shivprasad,
Present, ma'am.
Shodhan,
Present, ma'am.
Shravya,
Present, ma'am.
Shravya BC,
Dure. Percaya.
Shravya BC,
Bayar.
Shravya
Basta
D,
ta.
Present, ma'am.
Shravya yes,
Present, ma'am.
Last time.
Sri
Pati.
Dhruj,
Oh, bayar.
Present, ma'am.
Sri Prabha,
Kare la.
Sri Prabha, Sri Prabha,
Aw pencil warna.
Shreya DS,
Present, ma'am. Present.
Shruti,
Present, ma'am. Present, ma'am.
Shwetashri,
Present, ma'am.
Sibin Ravindran,
Yes, ma'am.
Sonam,
What a
Present, ma'am.
Sonam SS,
Present,
Saujanya,
ma'am.
Sonam SS, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Saujanya H,
Present, ma'am.
Spandana,
Present, ma'am.
Spandana M,
Present, ma'am.
Sparsha Shetty,
Present, ma'am.
Subish,
Present, ma'am.
Suchitra,
Present, ma'am.
Swarup,
Present, ma'am.
Satvik,
Swastik, ma'am.
Swastik, okay,
Yes, ma'am. Present, ma'am.
okay, Swastik Kumar,
Present, ma'am.
Swati DS,
Present, ma'am.
Tanushri,
Present, ma'am.
Vachan YG,
Present, ma'am.
Varada, Varada Narayana, absent, Vidyaratna,
Present, ma'am.
Vignesh, Vignesh R. Shetty, Vignesh Yam, Vignesh Yam, Vinod,
Present, ma'am.
Vishal,
Present, ma'am.
Vishmita, Vishmita, are you there?
Present, ma'am. Present, ma'am.
Vishmita, Vishwakumar,
Yes, ma'am.
Vishwas,
Present, ma'am.
Vivek, Yakshit, Yakshit Kumar, okay, Yashes,
Yes. Present, ma'am.
Yashwant,
Present, ma'am.
okay, fine.
Excuse
Present,
me.
ma'am.
Yeah, who is there?
Shri Prabha present.
Sri Prabha. What's your USN number?
090.
090. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yeah,
Pallavi present.
okay,
USN 66.
okay, fine.
Madam Vivek.
Vivek. USN number 118.
118. Yes.
Okay. Today we'll discuss some basic concepts related to array. All of you mute your microphone. In last class, we have discussed about the functions and different loops, that is while loop, do loop, again for loop, that we have discussed. Again, we have discussed about the functions. Under functions, we have discussed about the pass by value, pass by reference. Again, we have discussed about the recursive functions. Today, we'll discuss some basic concepts of arrays. What is array? An array is a collection or group of elements of same data type. Suppose if you have multiple values, you can just store that in the form of arrays, and data type of that value that should be same. Here we have two types of arrays. You can store the arrays values in two ways. That may be the one-dimensional array or that may be the two-dimensional array. Okay, now how we can use one-dimensional array or single-dimensional array? Elements are stored. Elements, that means values, are stored in one row or one column, and having one subscript is called a single dimensional array. Okay, you can store all the values in one row, or that may be in one column. That is having the single index or single subscript, that we can call as the single dimension or one dimensional array. Okay, how we can declare one-dimensional array? Okay, here we have the syntax. Okay, we have to mention the data type of that value, and we have to give some name for that array. And during the declaration, you have to specify the size of array. How many data values you want to store, that size you have to mention. Okay, for example, int ARR of 5. Here int, that is data type, ARR, that is the array name, and 5, that is size of that array, that is 5. That means here in this particular memory location we can store 5 elements. Okay, for example, here we have the array again, that array index or array subscript that will start from 0. Total size is 5, so array index, that is from 0 to 4. ARR of 0, ARR of 1, 2, 3, 4. And here in down, we have the actual address of that memory location. Here actual address, that is 1000 for ARR of 0, 1002, that is ARR of 1. Okay, why here first address is 1000, again second address is 1002? Any idea? Yes. Students, am I audible?
It is a sequential collection of data.
Yeah. Yeah.
Integer.
Here, data type, that is integer, correct? Okay, so each integer that will take 2 bytes of memory location. So first address, that is 1000, and second address ARR of 1 address, that is 1002. ARR of 2 address, that is 1004. Again ARR of 1, that will take 2 bytes of memory location, etc. Okay, till 1000 to 1008. Okay, here we have one more example, that is int marks of 10. Here in this array, marks, that is the array name, and data type, that is the integer, and 10, that is the array size. In this particular array, we can store 10 elements from the index 0 to 9. Actual address of this memory location, that may be different. That may be 1000 or that may be 2000, etc. Okay, but we are accessing the values based on this index value or based on the subscript value. Okay, now, how we can initialize the array? Here we can initialize, it means how we can store the values in array. We can initialize the arrays in two ways. One is at compile time, again second one is the runtime. Okay, now compile time, how we can initialize the array? Giving the values to array at the time of array declaration itself is called as the compile time initialization. It means while declaring the array, you can assign the values of that array. That we can call as the compile time initialization. For example, int a of 3, this is one method. Int a of 3 equal to 10, 20, 30. Okay, here a is the array name. Size of that array is 3. So in a of 0, it will store 10. In A of 1, it will store 20. Again, A of 2, it will store the value 30. So all the values are integer type. Again, we have one more example, float B of 2. 2 is subscript or index. This 2 is the size of the array. B is the array name. Float, that is the data type. So in B of 0, we have the value 1.1. Again, B of 1, we have the value 2.2. Any doubt how we can declare or initialize the arrays in compile time? Any doubt in this?
No.
No, ma'am.
Understood, right? Okay, next, that is one type. Okay, that is the basic initialization, mentioning the array size and values at the time of declaration. That means here we are mentioning the size as well as all the values of that particular array. Okay, next method, initialization without size. If the array is initialized where it is declared, mentioning the size of the array is optional. Okay, here in this particular example, we are not mentioning the size of the array. We are initializing only the values of that particular array. Okay, here int a and here size, that is blank. Okay, but in this particular method, we have to initialize all the elements of the array. So by default, the compiler, it will just consider the array size as 5. For first example, yes, yes. Any doubt, students? Any doubt? I'm audible, right?
Yes,
Any
ma'am,
doubt?
audible. No, no, no.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Any doubt here? We are not mentioning the size, but we have to initialize all the values of that array. So based on the total number of values that is initialized, it will just consider the size of that array. In second example, float B of again size is not initialized, size is not given. So size of that array, that is 2, because here we are initializing 2 values. Again, we have one more array, that is the character array. Array name is name, and here we are initializing 4 values, JOHN, that is John. Okay, in name of 0 we have J, name of 1 O, name of 2 we have H, again name of 3 we have the value N. One method, you can initialize all the we can initialize the values with the size, array size. In second method, okay, we are initializing all the values, but that array size, that is optional. And third method, partial initialization. Okay, here we can initialize the array elements partially. For example, a of 3 equal to 10, 20. Okay, that means array size is 3, but here we are initializing only 2 values. In a of 0, it will take the value 10. Again, in a of 1, it will store the value 20. Can you tell me what is the content of a of 2? Anybody? Okay, here we are initializing only 2 values, but array size is 3. Yes? What is
0.
the 0? Okay, during the compile time, compiler will assign the value 0 in A of 2 because array size is 3. Okay, same way here we have one more array name of 5. Okay, here also we have only 3 values, that is A, B, C. Okay, that means A of 0 A of 1 B, again A of 2 C, A of 3, again A of 4. In that particular place, it will just assign the null value. Understood? Null value, because here this is character. Okay, suppose if that is the floating point variable, in that memory location, empty place, it will just assign the value 0.0 because that is the float variable. Understood, right? Based on the data type, it will assign the value maybe 0 or 0.0 or null. Again, we can initialize the individual elements of the array, another method. Here, array size is 3, array name is A. So, individually, based on the subscript or based on the index, you can just assign the values A of 0, 10, A of 1, 20, again A of 2, 30. Okay, this is about the compile time initialization. Okay, another one is the runtime initialization. That means while executing the program, you can just read the data from the user and you can just initialize that particular array. Okay, here we have the example. Initially, that array is declared, that is not initialized. During the compile time, we are just declaring the array, and during the runtime, we are taking the data from the user. For example, here array size is 3. So you can use this scanf statement to read the data from the user. Array size is 3, so we have to read 3 elements. For that, we can use the for loop. Again, I initial value of I, that is 0, I less than 3, I plus plus, scanf. For the first loop, first iteration, it will read the value for a of 0, then increment the I value. For the second iteration, it will read the value for a of 1. Again, third iteration, it will read the value for a of 2. During the runtime, we can read the data from the user, or you can read the data from the keyboard. That we can call as the runtime initialization. Any doubt? Understood, right? Some basic concept related to the array.
Ma'am,
Yeah,
during compilation time,
yeah,
there is a initialization called null initialization, no ma'am?
yeah. Null initialization. Null initialization means we are not initializing all the values of the array. We
Yes,
are
ma'am.
giving the size, maybe a of 3. I am giving the size as a of 3, but I am initializing only two values. A of 0, again a of 1. I am not initializing the values for a of 2. Okay, that we can call as the null initialization. Automatically, compiler will assign the null value for that particular array index.
Okay, ma'am.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, now we have one program to read and print array elements. Okay, here during the runtime, we are reading the elements for, or assigning the elements for that particular array. Array name is A and size of that array is 10. Okay, first we can read the size from the user, that is n. Then you can enter the array elements one by one, and you can just store that array elements from the index 0 to 9, because here size, I will give the size as 10. Read that elements. Then after reading the elements, you can just print that values one by one using the printf statement. Whatever there in that particular index, maybe a of 0, a of 1, just print that values. Okay, any doubt in this program? Simple program.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody, if you have any doubt, please clear your doubt now itself. This array concept is very, very important for the to study the data structure subject. Right? Okay, now output of that program. Here array size is 3. So enter 3 elements 10, 20, 30, and array elements are display that values 10, 20, and 30. Okay, this is about the introduction part of C language. See again pointers concept, pointers, structures, and union concept. I will explain in module 1. Again, we are discussing that in module 1. So I will explain there. Okay. Okay, now we'll go for the actual syllabus. Whether my screens are visible now? Module 1, Introduction, Array Operation Strings.
Yes, ma'am. It is visible.
Ma'am.
Visible, right? Module 1, Introduction, Array Operations and Strings. Okay, now we'll go for the actual syllabus. In this module 1, we have 3 concepts. First, introduction part, and second, array operations. Again, third, we will discuss about the strings. Right? In introduction, we'll discuss basic introduction about the different types of data structures and classification of that data structure. Okay, first, what is data? Data means fact, or it may be any information, that information that will be in the unorganized form. Okay, again, that data, that may be the measurement, or that may be the quantity, or that may be the people, or that may be things, or that may be some other entities. All that we can call as the data. Again, that data is having some values. That values we have to store in some memory location. That memory location we can call as the variable. Okay, for that memory location, we will give some name that we can call as the variable. So here we have some example. For example, name, that is one variable, and Raj, that is the value of that variable, that is the string type. Again, class variable name 12, value, that is the integer type. Marks variable name 80, that is the value, again integer type. Here subject variable name mass, that is the value, that is the string type. Okay, that data, that may be anything, maybe measurement, maybe quantity, maybe people, or maybe things. We have to arrange that in some ordered way. Okay, now before going to the data structure, we will discuss some of the basic elements that is used in this data structure subjects. First, what is data? One of the elements used in data structure, data. Data are simply values, or that may be the set of values. For example, name, that is Raj, again USN number, some USN number, age 21, mobile number. Okay, this we can call as the data. That may be the single value, or that may be set of values. This information that is related to one student, so that may be the set of values. Again, data items. Data items refers to a single unit of values. Okay, here, Raj, USN number, age, and mobile number that belongs to one student. Again, that student is having the single value, or it may having the multiple values. Okay, that single values you can represent as data items. For example, name. Name is Raj. Then next element, that is group items. Data items that are divided into sub items. Suppose if any data item that can be divided into sub items, then that we can call as the group items. Okay, for example, name, that we can call as the group item. Okay, this name we can divide as first name, last name, again middle name. Understood, right? What is group item? Suppose if any data item, suppose if you can divide that into sub item, then we can call that as the group item. For example, name. The next one is the elementary item. Okay, data items that are not able to divide into sub items, then we can call as the elementary item. For example, USN number. USN number, we cannot divide that into sub items. Understood, right? What is group item? Again, what is elementary item? Any doubt? Yes. Difference between group item and elementary item. Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Next term, that is entity. An entity is something that has certain attributes or properties which may be assigned some values. Okay, the values may be either numeric or non-numeric. For example, whether this slide is visible, one table, student table, whether that is visible, students.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
This is visible, right? See here. Now, what is entity? Here, this table related to the student, and for this table we have some attributes: roll number, student name, age, and mobile number. This we can call as the attributes. And here, student, that we can call as the entity type. Understood, right? Under roll number, we have some values. Under attributes or under student name, we have some values. Under age, we have some values. Again, under mobile number, we have some values. Okay, these attributes and values totally we can call as the entity. And here, student, that is the entity type. Right? So, entity is something that has certain attributes or properties which may be assigned some values. For example, roll number, again student name, and that USN number and mobile number, totally we can call as one entity. And that particular entity that contains different attributes. For example, that name, roll number, that are different attributes, and that attributes is having some values. That totally we can call as the entity. One example, attributes are name, age, and sex, SSN number. Values, That is the under name we have this name, again under age we have 34, sex we have F, again under SSN we have the social security number, this particular value. Okay, here in this example, SSN you can call as the elementary item because that cannot be able to divide into sub items. Understood, right? What is entity? Entity is having some attributes and each attribute is having some values. For example, student, that is one entity, again employee, that is another entity. Next, entity set. Entities with similar attributes form an entity set. For example, here, first row, one, that is roll number 1 and student name Andrew, age 18 and mobile number, some value. Totally this we can call as the entity. Understood? Again, this is one entity, E1, or you can take this particular entity, E1, that is one entity, information related to one student. Again, fourth row, okay, E2, that is another entity. Now, this E1 and E2 together you can call as the entity set. Okay, entity set means entities with similar attributes form an entity set. That means in roll number 1, that is information related to one student. Again, row number 2, information related to the second student. Now, row 1, again row 2, we can totally call as the entity set. Now, the term information is sometimes used for the data with given attributes. In other words, meaningful or processed data, totally we can call it the information. Any data related to that particular student or that particular employee, you can call it the information. The next element, that is field. Field is a single elementary unit of information representing an attribute of an entity. Okay, I told roll number, student name, age, and mobile number, that are the different attributes. Again, roll number. Okay, information related to that particular student. Roll number, that's one information. Again, student name, that is another information. This we can call as the field. Roll number we can call as field. Again, student name we can call as the field, or we can call this roll number, student name, age, or mobile number as attributes or properties. The next, record. Record is the collection of field values of a given entity. Okay, here in this example, okay, one row we can call as the entity, or you can call that one row that we can call as the record. That means information related to roll number 2 student. Again, entity 2, that is the information related to the roll number 4 student. Totally, this particular row you can call as the entity, or you can call that as the record. Suppose if you have more than one entity, that we can call as the entity set. And all this information you can be stored in some files. The collection of records of the entities in a given entity set we can call as the file. Totally this we can call as the file, or you can call that as table. Any doubt? Yes, any doubt in this? What
No,
is
ma'am.
data items, group items, we can divide that into sub items. Again, elementary item, we cannot divide that into sub items. Entity, attribute, and values we can call as the entities. Entity set, suppose if you have more than one rows of similar attributes, that we can call as the entity set. Any data or values we can call as the information. Field means that attributes that contain some values we can call as the field. Record means field of values or one row we can call as the record. Information related to one student you can call as one record. So all the records together we can call as the file. Okay, please remember all these terms. And these terms we are using in data structures. Now, how we can study the complex structure? Okay, while studying the complex data structure, we have to follow some rules, or we have to remember 3 steps. Okay, first one, logical or mathematical description of the problem. Okay, or logical or mathematical description of the structure. That means now I want to add, for example, I want to add two matrices, or I want to perform the matrix addition. Okay, now before solving the problem or before using the data structure for that matrix addition problem, first you should know how we can add two matrices. You should know the logical and mathematical description about that particular problem. Understood, right? How you can add two matrices or how you can multiply two matrices, that you should know mathematical description about that particular problem. Then implementation of the structure, how we can implement that problem in computer. For example, matrix addition, we have to write two matrices. Again, for that we have to use two-dimensional array. To store the values of that matrices, we have to use two-dimensional array. Okay, that you should know. Implementation of the structure on computer, how we can implement the matrix problem in computer. For that we have to use two-dimensional array, that you should know. After that, quantitative analysis of the structure, which includes determining the amount of memory needed to store the structure and time required to process the structure. That means after performing the mathematical operation, after selecting the data structure to store that particular computer, then you have to find out how much memory it will take, that each matrix, how much memory it will take, and how much process time is required to process or to solve that particular problem. You have to analyze that. Understood, right? To study the complex data structure problems, we have to analyze these three problems. Three rules. First, we should know the mathematical description about that problem. Then we should know how we can implement that problem in computer. That means which data structure you have to use. Then we have to analyze how much memory location that each matrix will take and what is the process time of that particular problem. Okay, that we have to analyze before selecting the data structure or before identifying the data structure. Understood, right? Okay, now what is data structure? Any doubt in this slide? Yes? Any doubt, students?
No, ma'am.
You understood, right? You understood, right?
Yes, ma'am.
First, we should have some knowledge about the mathematical description. Take same problem, take matrix multiplication. How we can multiply that two matrix? We have to multiply the row with the column, right? Okay, that you should know mathematically how you can perform the matrix multiplication. After that, we have to store each values in the computer memory. How we can store that? For that, we have to use the two-dimensional array. We have to use the data structure array. Again, we have to store that values in two-dimensional array. That you should know. Third point, after that, each matrix, how much memory location it will take. Suppose if that is the integer data type, values are integer types, so it will take each element, it will take 2 bytes of memory. Again, suppose if that is the floating point number, each value that will take 4 bytes of memory, that you should identify how much amount of memory needed to store each values, and while executing, what is the process time, execution time, that you have to identify. Okay, based on this, you can just select the best data structure applicable for that particular problem. Okay, now what is data structure? We studied about the data, what is data, now what is data structure? A data structure is a particular way of organizing data in computer so that it can be used efficiently in future. Okay, that we can call as the data structure. That means organizing the data in computer in particular way, that we can call as the data structure. Or one more definition, data structure is a way of collecting and organizing the data in such a way that we can perform the operation on this data in an effective way. Okay, for example, if you take the integer data, we can perform different operations like addition, multiplication, division, etc. Okay, suppose if you're taking the string data, we cannot perform the multiplication operation. We can perform the concatenation operation on that particular data. So based on the data type, we can just perform some operations on that data in effective way that we can call as the data structure. Okay, here array, that is one of the data structure used in C, or structure, that is another data structure used in C. Okay, here we have marks of 10, that means you can just store 10 elements in this marks array. And here we have the arrays of structure, that structure name employee, and here you can store 3 information related to that particular employee of 0. Again here structure, we have emp of 2, that means that's arrays of structure, you can store information related to 2 employees. Okay, emp of 0, that is information related to the first employee, emp of 1, information related to the second employee, and each employee is having the ID, name and salary. ID, that is the integer type, name, that is the character type, again salary, that is float type. In array, data of same data type, but in structure, data of different data types. Okay, this is just example how we can organize the data in array, or how we can organize the data in structure. Organizing the data in computer memory in efficient way we can call it the data structure. Any doubt? Any doubt?
No, ma'am. No.
Okay.
No.
Here,
No, ma'am.
any problem in this particular line? Size of m, then 4 plus 5 plus 4 equal to 13 bytes. What is this? What is this? Okay, how much?
Character.
Yeah, how much memory this particular structure or employee information will take, right? Here, integer 4 bytes, character 5 bytes, again float, that will take 4 bytes of memory location. Total, it will take 13 bytes of memory location for one employee. Again, second employee, again it will take 13 bytes of memory location. Totally, this particular structure, it will take 26 bytes of memory location. Understood? You should find out how much memory location that particular problem will take. Right? Okay, now data types. Before finding the problems, or before finding the memory location, we should know the data type that is used for that particular problem. Yeah.
In previous slide, integer will take 2 bytes, no, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
And float will take 4 bytes.
Float will take 4 bytes and integer will take 2 bytes.
2 bytes.
But here I have given that as 4 bytes. Okay, this slide I have just copied from the net, and in that problem they have used the Java programming language. In Java or Python, or that may be the .NET, they will take the integer for 4 bytes. Okay, no problem. Okay, here that is 2 bytes. Same thing I have asked. Okay, 2 bytes for integer. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, this slide I have copied from the net. That's so they have mentioned that as 4. Any other doubt? Okay, fine.
Below structure employee EMP means what, ma'am?
That means we have to create the variable for the structure. Okay, this EMP we can call as the structure variable. Understood? I will explain the structure in detail. Now, this ID, name and salary, that we can call as the data member of the structure. Understood? That's the member of the structure. Now, to access the member of the structure directly, we cannot access. We have to use the variable, structure variable. Now, to access the ID, we have to perform the operation like emp.id. To access the name, we have to use the method like emp.name. To access the salary, we have to use emp.salary. Okay, this EMP we can call as the variable created for this particular structure. To access the data member of that structure, through this variable we can access.
What is the abbreviation of EMP, ma'am?
This just the user defined variable name, employee. Okay, this is the user defined name, EMP. You can give any name. You can give EM, or you can give EMP1, or you can give S1, any name.
Okay, ma'am.
Here only struct is the keyword. Remaining thing, all the things are user defined names. Int data type, character float, data types, but ID, name, salary, that is the user defined name. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I will explain the structure in detail. Okay, don't worry. I will explain. This is just one example. In this way, we can organize the data. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. Fine. Okay, now data type, that is the collection of objects or data, and we can perform some set of operations on that particular data. Okay, for example, if the integer data is integer type, then we can perform addition, subtraction, and multiplication, division on that particular data. Right? Okay, now why this data structure is required? What is the use of this data structure? Now we know computers are electronic data processing machines, right? Okay, now suppose if you want to solve the particular problem, we need to know how to represent that data in computer. I want to solve some problems. Now before solving that problem, before writing the algorithms or before writing any source code, we should know how to represent the data in computer. Then we should know how to access that. After storing that data in computer, we have to access that. Okay, now how to access that particular data, and third, what are the steps to be performed to get that particular needed output. All this information we will come to know from the data structures. Why we are studying the data structures? How to represent the data, how to access that particular data, and what are the steps to be performed to get the needed output. These information, these things we will study from the data structure. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, classifications of the data structures. Mainly, the data structure is classified into two types. One is primitive data structure. Second one is the non-primitive data structures. Under primitive data structures, we have the basic data type like integer, real, or float. Okay, that is real, another name is float, or that may be the character, or that may be the boolean. And under non-primitive data structure, we have the linear data structure. Again, we have the non-linear data structure. Under linear data structure, we have arrays, linked list, stacks, and queues. Again, under non-linear data structure, we have the trees and graphs. Okay, all this information, all these things we'll study in this particular subject. We have the separate module for the linked list, separate module for the stacks, queues, trees, and graphs. Okay, this will study this particular subject. Mainly the data structure that is divided into two types. One is primitive, again non-primitive. Primitive data structure already studied. That is the basic data types: integer, float, character, and boolean. In non-primitive, we have again two types: linear data structure, non-linear data structure. Under linear, we have arrays, linked list, stack, and queues. Under non-linear, we have trees and graphs. Right? Okay, now we'll discuss this one by one. What is primitive data structures? Primitive data structures are the basic data types. They are the fundamental data types that cannot be broken down into more simple data types. Okay, suppose if the data that contains single values, then that data can be organized using the primitive data structures or primitive data type. For example, int, float, character, double. Understood, right? Suppose if you want to store the student information or student name, I want to store the student name. You can just use character to store the student name. Suppose if you want to store the student marks, okay, you can just use the data type int to store the student marks. That's marks that contains single values, so that we can just organize that under primitive data types. We cannot broken down into more simple data types. That are the fundamental data types. Any doubt? Primitive data structures?
Ma'am.
Any doubt? Yeah. Basic data types we can call as the primitive data structures or primitive data types. Okay, next one is the non-primitive data structure. Are the data structures created using the primitive data structure? These are called the derived types. Suppose if any data that contains set of values, then they can be represented using the non-primitive data types. Understood? Suppose if any data that contains set of values, then we can represent that using the non-primitive data types. See different examples, arrays. I want to store 10 marks. I want to store 10 student marks. How we can use integer? We cannot use that. This basic data type we cannot
Arrays.
use. We have to use arrays.
It is.
Right? I want to store the student information. That student information should contain the student name, roll number, USN number, marks. How we can store? We can just store that
Structures.
using the structures. Right? Then we have the concept of unions. I will tell the difference between structure and unions. Okay, then stacks, list or linked list, queues, etc. are the non-primitive data structures. Suppose if that contains set of values, we can organize that using the non-primitive data types. Main difference, understood, right? Suppose if that contains single values, we have to use primitive data structure. Suppose if that contains set of values, we have to go for the non-primitive data structure. Right? And again, now that non-primitive data structure, that is divided into two types, that is the linear and non-linear data structures. Right? Now what is linear data structure? If the values or elements are stored in sequential order, then they are called as the linear data structure. Give me one example for the linear data structure.
Array.
Arrays, yes. Okay, in previous slide, previous PPT, we have seen that address, that is continuous memory location, 1000. ARR of 0, it will take 1000. ARR of 1, it will take 1002. ARR of 2, it will take 1004, etc. Right? Okay, that means that is the continuous. It will take the values, or it will take the memory in sequential order, that we can call as the linear data structures. Values or elements are stored in sequential order, we can call as the linear data structures. Each member elements is connected to its previous and the next elements. For example, arrays, list, stack, queues are come under the linear data structure. Any doubt? Any doubt in this? Very, very important concept, linear and non-linear data structure. Elements are stored in sequential order. Just remember that. Right? Suppose if the values or elements are stored in non-sequential order, then that is called as the non-linear data structure. Okay, here that memory location, that is not the continuous memory location. Okay, that is not stored in the sequential order, that we can call as the non-linear data structures. Example, trees and graphs. Okay, here nodes, each element that is stored in hierarchical manner. Okay, that is not in sequential order. Right? Understood, right? Difference between
Yes, ma'am.
linear and non-linear. Okay, here I have some example. Just see this. First example, that is for the array. Int marks of 5. Okay, this is one data structure. Okay, it is collection of data of same type in consecutive memory location and is referred by common name. Okay, here that is memory location, that is in sequential order. For example, suppose this marks of 0, that address is 2000, then marks of 1, address is 2002, For marks of 2, address is 2004, etc., etc. That means that memory location that is in sequential order. So we can call that as a linear data structure. Understood, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Another example, another data structure. Okay. Okay, fine. Another data structure that is. Am I audible? Audible, right?
Some disturbance, ma'am. Not clear.
Even I also. Now, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Now, the second data structure that is stack. In detail, we will discuss in the next module. Just listen what is stack. Stack that we can call as the last in, first out linear data structure. Last in, first out linear data structure, that means in which insertion and deletion takes place at only one end called the top of the stack. Okay, here in this, basically we are using array, and here we are inserting initially that array that contains one element, and we are inserting one more value to that array. Okay, for that operation we can call as the push operation. Push the element to the top of that stack. Okay, again push one more element to the top of that stack, that is 3. Okay, here in array we have 1, from bottom we have 1, 2, 3. Push one more element, that is 4, to stack of that array. Top of that array we have the elements 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, next 1, 2, 3, 4. Understood? Okay, again while deleting the element, we are deleting the element from the top end. First we have to delete 6, then we have to delete 5, then we have to delete 4, then we have to delete 3, then 2, finally 1. Okay, this we can call as the last in, first out linear data structure. What does it mean? Last inserted element, that is 6, we are deleting first. After deleting the 6, then whatever there in the top of that array, top of that star, that we are deleting. So we can call as the last in, first out data structure. Okay, here we are using only one pointer, that is the top pointer. We are deleting and inserting to the top end of that particular array. Any doubt? What is stack? Understood, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Just
Yes, ma'am.
introduction. What is stack? Just remember that much. That is enough
Last
now.
in, first out.
Last in, first out data structure. Okay, next data structure, that is queue.
First
Okay,
in, first.
basically here also in queue also we are using the arrays. So this we can call as the first in, first out linear data structure. See here we are inserting the elements to the queue in front end, or we can call that as the rear end. Okay, here first we are inserting 1, then we are inserting at the end of that array we are inserting one more element, then again we are inserting one more element, then 4, 5, etc. Okay, we are inserting the element in one end, again we are deleting the element from the another end. First inserted element we are deleting first. First we have inserted 1, so delete that first. Then we have 2, delete that. Again we have 3, delete that. This we can call as the first insert, first in, first out linear data structure. Here we are using 2 pointers. For insertion we are using the rear end. Again for deletion we are using the front end. Okay, this we can call as the front end. Again this we can call as the rear end. For insertion we are using the rear end. For deletion we are using the front end. Okay, here the data structure is based on the first in, first out linear data structure. Any doubt? Any doubt? You got some idea, right? But
Yes, ma'am. No doubt.
what is stack? Again, what is queue? Okay. One more data structure, that's linked list. Okay, it is collection of data of same items, but items need not be stored in continuous memory location. Okay, that means here first maybe in memory location 2000, I'm inserting the value 3. Maybe in memory location 3000, I'm inserting the value 10. Maybe in memory location 5000, I'm inserting the value 2, etc., etc. Right? Manually, these memory locations are not continuous, but logically we are making that as continuous, because here we have two fields. In this linked list, we have two fields. First one is the data field and second one is the next field. Okay, in this next field that contains the address of the next node. Totally we can call this as one node. Okay, next field that contains the address of the next node. Okay, here in this next field I will store the address of this, maybe here this is 2000, address of the next node that is 3000, so that 3000 I will store the next field of first node. Suppose the address of this 2, that is 5000, that 5000 I will store in the second node. So logically these nodes are connected. To store the data of the same type, we are using the linked list, but items need not be stored in the consecutive location. Logically, we are making that as the consecutive locations. Understood, right? Okay, one more data structure. These are the linear data structures: array, stack, queues, and linked list. That is the linear data structures. Linear data structure means that the array items that is stored in the sequential order. Another type, that is the non-linear data structures. Here, that items that is not stored in the sequential order, that items that is stored in the hierarchical order. Okay, here in nonlinear data structure we have trees. These trees are used to represent the data that has some hierarchical relationships. Understood? Now here under A we have node B. Again under B we have node D and E. Now this D and E we can call as the children of node B, and B we can call as the child of node A. Understood? Now these A, B, D, E are arranged in hierarchical manner, not in sequential order. This is arranged in hierarchical manner. Okay, this we can call as the non-linear data structure. One example, that is trees. Under trees, binary tree, that is in one type. For example, employee. Okay, here this A, node A we can call as the root node. Okay, here we have one more example, employee. Employee we can call as the root node. Under this root node we have children's, that is social security number, SSN number, name, address, age, salary and dependents. Again under address we have sub nodes, that may be the street and area. Again under area we have city, state and zip. Okay, these nodes or elements or data that is arranged in hierarchical manner. Okay, and this is example for the tree, and this we can call as the non-linear data structure. One type, that is trees. Understood, right? Okay. Another example for non-linear data structure, that is graph. Okay, here graphs are used to represent the data that has relationship between the pair of elements, not necessarily hierarchical in nature. That means here in this particular graph we have the relationship between the pair of nodes. In trees we have the relationship that is in hierarchical manner. That means D and E, node D and E is related to B, again that is related to A. Understood, right? Because A, that is the grandfather of D and E, we can call like that. Right? Any doubt?
Yes, ma'am.
You got some idea, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now graph means, okay, here we have the relationship between two nodes, pair of nodes. 0 and 1, that is related. Again 0 and 4, that is related. there is a relationship between 0 and 4. Again, there is a relationship between the node 0 and 1. Okay, there is a relationship between the node 1 and 4. Okay, this relationship that is not in hierarchical manner, only two pair of nodes are related to each other. Right? Okay, now these nodes we can call as the vertices. Again, that arrow mark you can call as the edges.
4 and 1 are connected to
Huh?
3.
Yes.
4 and 1 are connected to 3.
Yeah, 4 and 1 that is related to 3. That means 4 and 3 are, there is a relationship between 4 and 3. Again, there is a relationship between 3 and 1. Okay, there is a relationship between 4 and 1. Totally, these three nodes are related to each other. Understood? Okay, that relationship that is not in hierarchical manner. Pair of nodes are related to each other. Right? Again, here memory location that is not in sequential order. Okay, this we can call as the non-linear data structures.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yes.
Whether this slide is visible, classification primitive and non-primitive.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now data structure that is divided into two types: primitive data structure, non-primitive data structure. Under primitive, we have basic data types. Again, under non-primitive, we have two types: linear data structure, non-linear data structure. Again, under linear data structure, we have four types: arrays, linked list, tags, and queues. Under non-linear, we have trees and graphs. Correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. In next class, we will discuss different operations and that will come under the different data structures that we'll discuss in the next class. Shall we close now?
Ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Will you
Shravya,
share notes, ma'am?
Yeah.
Will you share notes, ma'am?
I will give the notes. Now I will share the PPT. Is it okay?
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
You want the notes now itself or after completing the first module?
Ma'am.
Now itself.
No, ma'am. Now
Now
itself.
okay, I will share that notes tomorrow.
Okay.
Ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, who is that?
Shravya present, ma'am.
Shravya. Late comer.
Varadhan also present.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ignition present.
Vigneshyam.
Varadhan, ma'am. I'm Pradeep.
Wait. Varadanarayan. Okay, then.
Shravya
Kumar.
Dixit.
Yeah, Kavya Dixi, I have given.
Pradeep Kumar.
Pradeep Kumar.
Pradeep Kumar.
Okay. Any other?
Ma'am, Shravya.
Shravya.
Uh,
Shravya. BC, right?
no, ma'am. Shravya.
Shravya D. Shetty. Shravya, yes. Shravya.
Shravya,
R4
05.
Okay, fine. Any problem? You are understanding, right? Data structure?
Yes, ma'am. Understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If you have any doubt, you just message me, okay? My personal mobile number, you just message me if you have any doubt.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, fine. I'll close.